Day number 26 of the Daily Journal video series. Everyone, welcome back. My name is Hervin, and this is the Daily Journal video series where I am just documenting here our journey as we're trying to scale our business. I am sharing any lessons that I find along the way, anything that I've done, anything cool that I find, or just any ideas that occur to me. Mostly it's pertaining to our business, but just in general, anything that I find really cool, I'm sharing it over here. I'm just making a practice of coming online, just sharing and trying to build here a personal brand over time. And this is a challenge to anybody watching, especially early on right now. Start making content. At least this is something that I know I've always wanted to do. So if you've known that you've always wanted to come over to the internet and share some content and just start moving in the direction where you want to be sharing, you want to be creating content, do it. I'm making this video, they're barely getting any views, and that'll tie into some of the things that I'm going to speak about today. I have some things that I want to share here in this video, but let me just talk about really quickly what we've done today inside our business. So today, met with a few team members, did some just handle support here while one of our key employees is away, and so I've been handling the support. I've been trying to figure out how to streamline our support processes, and in any case, we also did some hiring interviews. We interviewed 10 people on a group interview. None of them met the standards that we were looking for. It makes me feel sad. Like, people don't know how to do hiring group interviews. And it made me think, wow, like, competition for jobs is not that difficult if you know how to sound decent in a job interview. And it's not like, I mean, obviously you want somebody to be amazing, but just being decent will get you far. And so, just being able to know how to conduct yourself in a hiring interview, so many people don't know how to do that. And it's just like the simplest things. Like, if they're asking you why should we hire you, and in your answer you don't say, well, here's how I can provide value, and instead you say, because I'm fun and I could be myself, that's not going to get you hired. And so just like common sense things like that. And I'm not even kidding. In one of the interviews we did like 2 weeks ago, there was a guy smoking a cigarette on the call, which, I mean, just people don't know how to conduct themselves on a hiring interview. And so if you have just some professionality to you, you know how to speak coherently, and then that's how you're going to be able to, I mean, the competition is not even that harsh, or it's not harsh at all. Most people don't know how to properly do an interview, and I don't know. Anyway, we interviewed 10 people. We didn't find anybody in the 10 people that we felt was qualified to move them to the next round. We had 2 one-on-one interviews lined up with 2 people that we had liked from previous group interviews that had passed the assessment. One of them, we were excited for both, but one of them we were really excited about because he was an engineer, had a really good experience, had done really well on his assessment. And he saw, because we email people ahead of time the questions that they're going to be receiving, the questions that we're going to be asking them on the group interview. And I mean, I'm sorry, on the one-on-one interview, we email them those questions as soon as they book that interview. We email it, so that way they're prepared, they know how to come in, they're confident. And this person took a look at the questions that we were going to be asking him on that one-on-one interview and canceled on us. And when we emailed, like, hey, was this a mistake? Did you cancel by accident? Like, we were looking forward to your meeting. He's like, no, I saw the questions and I realized that, you guys are working with a project management system that I've never heard, that I've never used. and I just don't think I'm a right candidate. So he just kind of gave up and left, and it was a bummer. And part of the reason why we're even asking the question, so one of the questions that we give to people is like, hey, help us create an automation in this software. And we on purpose know that people are not going to know that software, but what we're hoping for is that they're courageous enough to, first of all, take the interview. Second of all, we're hoping that they're really just going to be Googling or chat GPTing how to do what we're asking them to do. And so we want somebody who has the ability to research. Obviously, being able to, if you don't know the answers, that's totally fine. But being able to just research and look for the answers, that's what the personality and the person that we're looking for. We want somebody who's not going to be afraid to Google things. And so he just kind of gave up, and that was that. And so we ended up getting canceled by this person. And then and that was a huge bummer. We were really looking forward to that interview. The next candidate that we interviewed was somebody who was amazing. They were very skilled, but their English speaking abilities were not fully there, and it's unfortunate. But I think it's gonna hold us back from moving forward, just because we need people in our team that are going to be communicating with clients. And we've had issues with clients in the past complaining about employees just not communicating well. And overall, we want to make sure that our customers, as unfortunate as it is, if it wasn't a position where they're going to be interacting with the clients, then it wouldn't matter how well they can speak. But this is a position where they're required to be facing the client. And so we need somebody there who's able to, who can speak and hold their own, or more than hold their own. They're able to clearly communicate with the clients, and we felt that this person may not have that skill set right this second, because we're also besides hiring in the US, we're also looking abroad as well. And so again, this person had the skill set. They're very smart, but their communication skills weren't that great, and that's the thing that we're kind of holding us back from moving forward. So anyway, that's what I've done today. Besides that, some support. Pretty much my update for today. I haven't been moving forward with a lot of the projects because right now it's between interviews, switching from meeting with our employees, meeting with the potential candidates. I also reviewed a couple of assessments. We have people that we're excited about, that are going to be potentially moving, or that we know for sure they're going to be moving because they've already booked their one-on-one meetings with us. So we have those to look forward to. That's going to be exciting. We have some people that we're excited about to interview. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have done today. It doesn't feel like it just feels like the day to day is like, you get one question from a client and that takes you 15 minutes, and you get another one and it takes you half an hour. Then you jump in a meeting, you're switching from task to task, all this task switching. It's hard to get any like focused work done. And so I feel like I haven't moved a lot forward in the projects that are important. And so, but the other thing too is like, I've also felt like I mentioned in a couple of videos ago, which is, should I even be focusing on doing the things instead of giving the project to the team and then coaching them so that they're able to do the project? And also it's tough right now because we are short staffed by one employee, but really we need 4 more people. And so we're hoping that with this hiring process, we're going to be able to find a few good people that we're going to be able to move forward a lot faster with. And so anyway, that's that. Something else, so that's on our end on the relating to our company. I've also have here something to share, something that I've been thinking about. So one of my side things that I've been doing is obviously creating here content every single day. And something that I am obsessed about is I'm obsessed with success and just what makes people successful and what makes, why do some things work, for example. So when it comes to YouTube, obviously everybody knows Mr. Beast. And so I want to share with you here. I'm going to share my screen here. I think I am sharing my screen. There we go. Okay. So I watched this video where it says every YouTuber who tried copying Mr. Beast. And to cut the long story short, the video just highlights all of these YouTube creators who've copied Mr. Beast and the type of videos that he makes. Sometimes outright just like plagiarizing his thumbnails, his images, his scripts, like the whole thing. And so sometimes it's just like people literally just like outright ripping him off. And you would think like those people would not be successful and they're ripping him off and they wouldn't do well. But the reality of it is that they're actually really successful creators themselves. So really successful YouTubers themselves. The people who are ripping Mr. Beast off and they're having their own, they're not as successful as Mr. Beast. They don't have 100 million subscribers, but they have 10, 17. I thought to myself, and they have millions of views. And they're primarily just like ripping these big YouTubers videos. And I thought, I'm like, wow, that's crazy in a lot of different ways. So what that made me think is, so somebody can have success copying somebody else. So what does that even mean? Or what does that tell you about business and about ideas? And so what it made me think is, number one, a good idea. So let's say Mr. Beast comes up with a really good idea for a video. He films it and that video does extremely well. You would think, okay, that idea is done. He's already done it. Like that idea will never work again. But these other YouTubers are literally taking his videos and like just remaking them. And they're having really good success with it. And so it made me think, wow, like a good idea has way more juice than you would think. Like has way more potential in it than you would think. You would think, okay, once that idea is made and it's built and it's done and people have seen it, that's it. Like that video is done. They're never gonna do it again. And it doesn't. The idea actually works, and it works. Not only does it work well, but it works well. Like people not only here from the US have copied it, but they've also copied it from other parts of the world where, in Latin America, you have a few people who have copied Mr. Beast videos in Spanish, in Europe. And so it's like, oh, wow, like a good idea. And the reason why I've thought of why it resonated this, or why I've thought about this so much, is because for us internally, inside what we do, inside our company, we have competitors doing similar things to what we're doing. And it makes me, and every time a new competitor comes out, it's like, oh no, it's getting more competitive. Like, are we going to be able to sustain our growth? And are people going to leave us for competitors or something like that? And so it's made me feel like paranoid. It's made me feel like bad at times. And so this makes me feel like watching this, where it's like one good idea that has gotten remade multiple times by different people and it performs well all the time. It makes me think like there's actually way more space than you think for a good idea. There's actually more room than you think. And then the other thing that I thought of is that the fact that these people have been successful with the ideas that Mr. Beast came up with, they've been successful in their own right. That does not take away from Mr. Beast's success. And so there's room for multiple people, instead of like thinking like, oh, there's only like a limited amount of pie. If like Mr. Beast takes it, like there's not room for anybody else, which this proves that that's not the case. They have taken literally the same idea, recreated it, and had success with it, and that did not take away at all from Mr. Beast's success. It's incredible. It's like it makes you think like, oh wow, like there is a lot more room than you think, and not having to worry so hard about competition or something like that. Any case, in any case, I mean, that's something that I've been thinking about, is that number one, a good idea has way more potential than you think. Like for me personally, I think it's like, okay, I sent one good email and that's it, and that email performed well, but I'm never gonna be able to use it again. When in reality, like you do something that worked really well, like you could keep doing that same thing. It makes me think of like the show Scooby Doo that I used to watch as a kid. Like that show, got, essentially, I saw it throughout my whole entire childhood. As a kid, and later on, like as a 5 year old, and as a 10 year old, and then as a 15 year old, and that show like stayed on for such a long time, and it was literally the same repeated plot always, and the same repeated, pretty much the same storyline the entire time. But like the only thing that changed is like the monster. But like the plot, the thing was exact. It was like a formula, and it played for so many years, and it makes you think like, wow, the reason why it had so much longevity is because, again, a good idea has so much room has so much potential. And so anyway, and then the other thing that I thought about is the competition. Like there's room for multiple people. It isn't like if one person becomes successful, that's it. Nobody else can become successful, even doing something similar to what that other person is doing. That person, that's it. They've taken the whole entire market share, and there's not room for anybody else. Not true at all. So it really made me think of how big the environment, like how much room there actually is. The last thing that I want to share here and document in this video is something else that this is almost like a new hobby of mine so again, me talking about how I am obsessed with success and obsessed with what makes things work, and how come some things work, and how do you achieve success, and so on. And so I've been looking at this video here, or I'm sorry, what I've been doing is I've been looking at really popular YouTubers and seeing how they got the success that they did and how long it took them, for example. And it's really fascinating to go into like the famous big YouTubers. So what I did is I went inside the YouTube like subscription page, but if you have a YouTube account that doesn't have that you're not subscribed to anything, when you hit the subscription page, it just shows you like the biggest YouTube channels. And so what I did is I went there and I found a couple of people that were really successful, and I just went to their previous videos to see what I would find. I mean, to their oldest videos to see what I would find. And try it yourself. It's really cool as an exercise. You'll see where people come from. Because a lot of these big YouTubers that have like massive productions and they look great on camera started out with like very humble beginnings where their camera quality was crappy. They didn't sound great in front of the camera. They didn't have all the fancy equipment and all the fancy edits and all of that. It started out pretty rough, and it's really cool because sometimes I judge myself about like these videos. Am I saying the right thing? Is this a perfect thing to do? And like right now there's a red light that I forgot to switch, so after 7 p.m. we usually turn everything to red lights because it's easier as opposed to having like these bright lights that I have over here. I picked that tip up from like, I think it was Andrew Huberman who said it. In any case, it's supposed to make it easier for you to fall asleep. So I'm going to share with you here this what I found. So I've been I've been watching this guy named Drew Talbert and watching his short videos. So he plays the character it's one person, and it's one person dressed in different wigs, and he is at a restaurant, and he's just kind of role playing scenarios there. So he'll pretend he's a waiter talking to some rude customers, and he's just exchanging, and it's like supposed to be funny, and I find it hilarious. Like, the guy is super, super funny. And so I was looking to see how he started his journey, and I went to his YouTube channel, today we're going went to his videos, and then went to the oldest section here. And it's crazy how 7 years ago he just was doing improv things, and then little by little, like, so for 7 years he uploaded his first video. Then from there he stopped. After uploading a while, he stopped, and then like 4 years later started posting content after again, and then it was like some comedy skit, and then some comedy thing again, and then he did the whole thing at the restaurant, and it was a short video, and it worked. He got 260,000 views. So notice how none of these had gotten many different views or many views. And then he did this, and it worked. And then he tried something else that was funny, but like, it didn't perform as well. And then he went back and he tried the restaurant thing again, and it worked again. And then he started doing more of the waiter thing again, and it started to work. And then he went and tried some other thing, and it didn't work. And so you could see how the whole server thing started to catch on, and he started to double down on that. And then eventually, like, now he's almost at 1 million subscribers. And it's cool. It's kind of like, it reminds me of those videos. I don't know if you've seen them, but those videos that it shows the AI learning on its own, like machine learning, and it's like an AI that's trying to learn how to walk from point A to point B, and at the beginning it tries, and it like doesn't do well, and there's like a million times later of the AI learns like to walk across by like doubling down on the strategy that worked. And so it made me think of that, because he tried something, it didn't work. He tried something else, it worked. Then he tried something else, it didn't work. And he's like, oh, wait a minute, that worked. Let's try that again. And so then he tried it again, and it worked. And then he tried something else, and it didn't work. And then he's like, wait, those two things they've worked. Let's go back to that. And it kept working. And it's like, but anyway, just seeing that is really cool. How he just doubled down on the thing that worked, and also how he tried different things before finding that thing that worked. And who knows, maybe that's something that he just tried. I don't know. I mean, I've tried searching for interviews to see if he talks about his story as a YouTuber. Couldn't find any. But in any case, it was really cool to see how he has grown, and how, he started trying out a bunch of different things, and then one of them caught a win, and then he just doubled down on that strategy. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's really cool to see where people come from. I have here another one that I want to share, which is like, this YouTuber right here, Marques Brownlee, and he's a famous tech reviewer now. But if you look at his videos and you filter to the oldest, like, he started with, it's like a 14-year-old playing golf, and then he's doing some tutorials here teaching people how to use some software, and the quality isn't good. And these videos were uploaded 14 years ago. And so looking at the starting point from where these YouTubers came from, and seeing how long it took them to get success, and seeing how they kept trying, and how they didn't give up. And so it makes me think, like, you have 14 years to keep trying to bat the ball. At some point, you're going to hit a home run if you just keep trying. And so to me, it's just a matter of, like, over a long enough time frame, you're going to become successful if you just keep trying. And so just putting yourself out there, it's one of the lessons that I picked up from it. It's like, I went through a couple of different YouTube channels, and I saw people that had 3 million, 6 million subscribers, and I went back to their oldest videos, and they were posted like 11 years ago, 7 years ago, 14 years ago. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you keep trying for 7 years, at some point it's going to work. if you keep trying different stuff, something is gonna, it's something is bound um, to hit. Something is bound to go viral for something to work. And so, yeah, I mean, if you stay playing the game long enough, that's one of the lessons that I got out of it. The other lesson is like at the beginning, even if you go to, one of my favorite podcasters is Tim Ferriss, as like many people. And if you go back to his YouTube channel, Tim Ferriss has a video of him like how to tie how to tie the perfect tie knot. And I'm like, wow, like you could just really start creating content about whatever, and you could switch directions at any point. So like one of the things that you feel is such a big decision at the beginning of whenever you're starting to make content, it's like, what am I going to make my content about? I don't know if like I need to get it perfect. I need to make sure that that I know what to say, that I have the right video. And like you look at these people's old content, and they tried a bunch of different things, and sometimes they create content that is not relevant to what they're making now, like Marquise right there making golf videos as his first YouTube video. So you don't have to overthink things. You just put stuff out there, and that's a reminder to myself. But in any case, those are all things that I've been thinking about, and that all relates to success in the sense of like, if you look at these people, where they come from, look at the success they have now, but look at also where they come from. They came from not knowing how to make YouTube content. Their videos were crappy. They didn't have the best quality. They weren't great in front of the camera. And they just, and the videos may not even have to do anything with what they're creating now. Yet they managed to keep creating, and over the years they found something that worked, and they just doubled down and they made it work. And so anyway, that's all I have for today. Those are some thoughts that I've been thinking about. Hope you've enjoyed listening. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Hervin. This is the Daily Journal video series. If you're interested in seeing how our company grows over time and getting the lessons that I'm learning, follow along for the journey, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.